Here's the recap of the first and second season of Squid Game. The main character named Gi-hun is a loser in life and has a huge amount of debt in the bank. He has a daughter, but his wife left him for someone else long ago, taking his daughter with her. He himself lives poorly with his mom and spends all his savings on betting. At some point, Gi-hun finally wins a rather large sum of money, but a thief steals from him, and the local gangsters demand to return the money he owes them too. Returning home, Gi-hun meets a well-dressed man on the subway who offers to play a children's game with him. The man gives Gi-hun 100,000 won for each win, but for each loss he gets a slap on the wrist. Thus, Gi-hun gets slapped in the face many times, but still wins a few times. After that, the man offers him to play another game and gives him a business card with a phone number written on it. After calling it, Gi-hun agrees to take part in some game, and a car comes to pick him up, in which he is put to sleep. When Gi-hun wakes up in a huge room, he discovers that there are 456 people participating in the game, and meets an old man, Il-nam No. 1, who has brain cancer. He also gets into a fight between players Deok-soo, who is some kind of gangster, and Byok, the thief who stole money from Gi-hun earlier. They are interrupted by masked men in red jumpsuits who tell them about the upcoming competition. They have 6 games to complete, and after each game they will be awarded a certain amount of money, which will eventually be measured in billions of won. All participants are given a chance to leave now, and since no one has left, they announce the rules of the game, of which there are only 3. From that point on, a player cannot opt out of the game. By refusing, the player is eliminated. And by majority decision, games can be stopped at any time. Also, let me tell you about the hierarchy of these people in masks. The most important is the man in black. He is the leader. Further square masks, these are the supervisors and only they are supposed to talk. Triangular, roughly speaking, guards and punishers. And the round ones are the attendants. They are all forbidden to show each other's faces, and in case of violation of this rule, they will be immediately executed. The participants go to the first challenge where they have to play a child's game. Roughly speaking, while the puppet at the end of the hall turns away and sings "People Can Move," when it turns around everyone must freeze. Whoever gets to the puppet in the allotted time goes through. What the participants don't realize is that elimination in this game means immediate death. People start to panic, and more than half of them die in an instant. During the challenge, Gi-hun meets his former classmate Sang-woo, who tells him the strategy to win. And also Gi-hun is saved at the crucial moment by a guy named Ali. The surviving contestants return to the living room, where they are told that for each contestant who dies, 100 million won will fall into the pool. That means the winner will end up with 45 billion won. Most of the contestants want to leave the competition due to fear of death, and after the vote, everyone is released. However, the organizers inform them that they will hold another vote the next day, and if they want to come back, the game will continue. Back to their miserable lives, the people realize that they most likely missed their only chance to get their lives together and vote to return to the game. While Gi-hun was on the loose, he went to the police out of fright and got a detective interested in his story. His brother disappeared a few years ago, and he found a similar business card at his house. The detective follows Gi-hun, sneaks onto a barge, kills one of the employees, and, disguised in his clothes, begins to gather information about the game. We also learn that Gi-hun's mother was unable to get proper treatment at the hospital because Gi-hun had once spent all of her money. The contestants return to the dormitory, where we are introduced to another annoying woman named Min-yo, who soon starts hitting on gangster Deok-soo and teams up with him. Gi-hun also teams up with his savior from the first game named Ali, an old man named Il-nam, a thief named Se-byok, and his old friend Sang-woo. Sang-woo guesses what the next game will be but doesn't tell his friends about it. The new competition is to carefully cut out a shape on a caramel plate with a needle. Some have more luck with the figure, some less, but if they fail, the person is killed. Of course, a large number of players die, but all the main characters manage to pass the test. Gi-hun passes it as he figures out that it is possible to lick the plate from the other side. The surviving contestants return to the living room, and the organizers hint that they are not forbidden to kill each other outside the trials, thus increasing the prize money. During the night, a mass brawl breaks out. A large number of people are killed, and after old Il-nam asks for the violence to stop, the guards enter the living room and tell them that it's time for a new challenge. Also, I would like to point out that Deoksu creates a gang, and they are joined by a player who knows what the next challenge will be. More on that later. The participants are asked to form teams of 10, but they are not told for what purpose. The main characters have too many women on their team, and even the annoying Minyo joins them as she gets dumped by Deoksu. Unfortunately for them, the next challenge is a tug-of-war, and if the team loses, they fall from a great height and crash to their deaths. However, the old man Il-nam tells the main characters a strategy to win, and they manage to survive. We also learn that there are several people in this organization who secretly butcher the corpses of players, harvest their organs, and sell them on the black market. The player who joined Deoksu's gang helps them get the organs, and in return they tell him what the next challenge will be. Coincidentally, the detective kills one of these people to get here and uses them to find out about a secret passage for VIPs. Since they are in masks all the time, no one realized that their friend had been switched. The detective uses this passageway to get into the host's chambers and learns that the game has been going on for 30 years, and his brother won the competition in 2015. Meanwhile, the organizers execute the RI organ snatchers and find out that the detective snuck in. When it comes time for the fourth challenge, the contestants are asked to pair up, again without telling which game they will play. Thinking they will compete as teams, the main characters pair up with friends, but it turns out that the contestants must defeat each other. Sae-byuk eventually defeats a woman who decides to give in to her, and we learn that Sae-byuk has fled North Korea in the past with her younger brother. Sang-woo tricks Ali, and thus passes the test. Meanwhile, Gi-hun competes against Il-nam. He almost loses, but sees that the old man starts to get confused because of his illness. Taking advantage of this, almost gains victory. At the last moment, Il-nam comes to his senses, but he sees that Gi-hun is truly sorry that he had to cheat him, and also remembers that the guy supported the old man throughout the whole challenge, so he lets Gi-hun win. All the losers are executed, and the remaining ones return to the living room. VIP clients arrive at the games. These are the richest people from all over the planet, who make bets during the competition and are roughly speaking sponsors. We learn that the masked man is not the most important person here. There is also a certain manager, but he could not come for personal reasons. The VIPs are seated in a special room and start watching the next game. The detective sneaks into this hall and, having secluded with one of the guests, records a confession on camera and then escapes from the island. The organizers chase after him, and it turns out that the host in a black mask is the detective's brother. The host shoots him in the chest and he falls off the cliff. Meanwhile, the remaining 16 participants are offered to choose a number from 1 to 16 and are told that this is the number they will be tested under. The main characters are lucky to choose the last number, as the test is as follows. In front of the participants is a bridge consisting of pairs of glasses. One of them can withstand the weight of several people, and the other breaks even from one. People have to choose whether they will jump on the left tile or the right, and if they don't guess, they will crash to their death. It takes 16 minutes to get to the other side, and they have to go to the bridge by the number they got at the beginning. At the crucial moment, the bandit Deoksu refuses to go on, and Minyo, determined to avenge his past, jumps down with him. In the end, Gi-hun, Sang-woo, and Sae-byuk make it to the end. Back in the living room, the main characters are set a fancy table and leave their knives behind while taking away the dishes. Sae-byuk is injured in the previous game by a shard of glass and asks Gi-hun to take care of her younger brother if he wins. During the night, Sang-woo kills a woman, and Gi-hun wants revenge, but they are stopped by the guards. The last challenge begins, where two former friends have to play a children's game called Squid Game. Its rules are not important as the main characters just start beating and stabbing each other with knives. In the end, the victorious Gi-hun suggests his opponent to vote and end the competition, but Sang-woo accepts his fate and pierces his throat with a knife. Gi-hun gets 45 billion won, returns home and discovers that his mother died of an illness while he was participating in the games. All of this breaks Gi-hun, and he spends a year doing obscure things without spending the money he won. At some point, he is invited to an empty skyscraper, where he finds an old man, Il-nam, chained to a bed. It turns out that he is that manager, who for personal reasons did not meet the VIP guests. He was tired of watching the games, and to feel something in this life he began to participate in them. Gi-hun wants to kill the old man, but Il-nam suddenly dies himself. After a while, the main character takes Se-byuk's brother out of the orphanage, puts him in the care of Sang-woo's mother, and gives them a huge bag of money. At first, we are shown that Gi-hun wants to leave the country, but in the last frames of the episode we see that he decides to return to the game. This is the end of the first season. Let's pause for a moment. Here you can like this video, subscribe to my channel, and write some comments. Thanks. Gi-hun decides to stay in Seoul to stop this game once and for all, but the organizers are not easy to find. So he spends the money he won to hire local bandits to help him, and the leader of these bandits named Kim almost believes the main character, as for the last few years, quite a few people who owed him money have disappeared without a trace. Gi-hun has just one clue: the same man who recruited him on the subway playing a child's game with him. The mercenaries have been on duty at the stations for 2 years looking for this man, and it seems all in vain. One day, however, Kim and his right-hand man Woo-seok find the recruiter. They follow him, but the man detects the surveillance and knocks them both out. The men wake up bound and gagged. The recruiter makes them play rock, paper, scissors, and the one who loses participates in Russian roulette as well. However, Kim sacrifices himself to save his subordinate Woo-seok. The recruiter learns about the location of Gi-hun's secret base and comes to him. There, the main characters play Russian roulette again and argue about whether their principles are true or not. In the end, Gi-hun wins and finds in the recruiter's pocket an invitation card with an address specially for him. Let's go back in time a little bit. The same detective named Jun-ho who was shot by the manager survives. Turns out he was picked up in the water by a sailor and taken to the hospital. The man has no intention of letting it go. He is transferred to the usual patrolman and in parallel with the sailor for 2 years, combing all the nearby islands, which are more than 200, but all to no avail. One day he notices Gi-hun, and remembering him, realizes that he survived the games. Jun-ho follows his trail and finds the main character's base. He infiltrates there, where he discovers Gi-hun and a dead recruiter. There they also find a tied-up bandit named Woo-seok. Together they decide to find the organizers of the games, each for a different reason. The main characters assemble a team of ex-military men. Their goal is to find a manager and then get the sponsors. Without them, the games will not be held. Gi-hun inserts an artificial tooth with a beacon and goes to the meeting where he was invited. The other main characters follow him discreetly. However, the organizers knew about the surveillance, so Gi-hun finds himself without cover in the limousine of the manager. He realizes that there is no other way out and demands to be brought back into the game. To Gi-hun's surprise, he is not refused and is put to sleep for further transportation. Meanwhile, the rest of the main characters follow the beacon. They get on the boat of the same sailor and sail to a deserted island. But it turns out that the organizers found a tracking device and planted it to some fishermen to take the mercenaries away. Gi-hun wakes up in the familiar lounge and realizes that he has been assigned the same number, 456. Soon the masked men explain the rules, and it turns out that in 2 years of games there is a new one. After each trial, if the majority vote to leave the game, the current amount of money won will simply be divided among all the players. The first challenge begins, which is exactly the same as the first season. Just like last time, the contestants don't realize that they might die. So Gi-hun tries to convince everyone to be more serious. Everything goes well at first, but when one of the contestants is killed, panic sets in, and a lot of people die. There, Gi-hun meets his old acquaintance Young-bae and asks him to stay close to him. When the trial is over, all the survivors return to the restroom. Shocked participants are offered to vote to stop the games and share the winnings, but everyone realizes that in that case they will get very little money. So most people are inclined to stay. Here, Gi-hun intervenes and tells everyone that he has already participated in this game. He warns that most likely only one person can win here, like last time. This helps a little, and eventually the votes are tied. The last contestant at number 1 votes to stay, and the games continue. In the meantime, we are shown that this contestant is the manager himself. He introduces himself as Young Il. Gi-hun is suspicious of him at first, but he manages to trick the main character and make him feel at ease by telling a heartwarming story about why he decided to participate in the game. People gather around Gi-hun, hoping he will help them survive the next challenge. He tells them that the next trial will require them to carefully cut out a shape on a caramel plate with a needle, and advises them to choose a triangular one. However, the next day turns out to be a completely different challenge waiting for them. They must unite with 5 people and pass a series of mini-games, and they will be linked together. If they don't make it in 5 minutes, they'll be executed. As expected, a few dozen more people died. However, the main characters survive, as they have gathered a good enough team. Back in the restroom, they decide to get acquainted. Let me right away list the notable characters who will often appear in the scene. Young Il at number 1, impersonating a player. Jung Bai at number 390, a former soldier and friend of the main character. Daiho, 388, also poses as a former military man, but acts very cowardly throughout the season. Junhee, 222nd, is a pregnant woman. Her ex-boyfriend, Myung-gi, is 333. Hyunju, 120th, used to work in the special forces. Also mother and son, Gumja and Young-sik. Don't really take them all to heart, as they don't really affect the plot. Just know they're there. Throughout the season, we are also told the story of a woman named No-ul. She escaped from North Korea, but left her child there, and now spends all her money searching for him. However, all to no avail. One day she is given that very card, but we find out that she participates not as a player, but as a masked punisher. Her task is to kill people who could not cope with the challenge, and she does her job well. Soon we learn that, as in the first season, there is a group of people who smuggle organs. They're being run by an interim manager nicknamed the Officer. If anyone finds out they're doing it, they'll be executed. It turns out the No-ul is too good at her job and the smugglers don't have enough organs to harvest. That's why the officer and his men are threatening her. If she continues to be so diligent, they'll kill her. After which the woman stops executing people and leaves some to die. Also during the challenges, No-ul notices a man named Gyeong-seok, whom she had seen at the amusement park where she worked part-time. It turns out he's here because of his young daughter, who has cancer and needs money for treatment. No-ul feels his pain, but there's nothing she can do to help him. In the second season, this whole storyline goes nowhere. It will most likely be important in the next season of the series. At this time, Detective Jun-ho and the bandit Woo-seok continue to search for Gi-hun after his disappearance. They equip 2 boats and set out to find the island. At first, the men think they have found it, but it turns out to be a trap of the organizers of the games, and several mercenaries fall into it. The main characters realize that time is running out and hurry to find Gi-hun before the end of the games. However, it turns out that the captain of the ship that rescued Jun-ho from the water works for the villains and prevents everyone from finding the island. The organizers of the games again give the participants a vote, but they again choose to stay, as the prize fund is too small and there are too many people to divide the winnings between. The next day, another game is played. All participants stand on the center rotating platform. When it stops, a number is announced. People have to gather that number of people around them and manage to run into a free door. Whoever doesn't make it in time dies. Such a test is conducted several times, but the main characters still manage to survive. Back in the restroom, the participants vote again, but this time the votes are equally divided. According to the rules, people have to re-vote. so the organizers give them time to think. Because of this, people get nervous, and there is an altercation in the restroom in which 5 people die. Gi-hun realizes that this night there will be a massacre, and everyone will start killing each other, reducing the number of people who have to vote. So Gi-hun encourages his new friends to band together, but not to fight the contestants. The plan is to wait out the carnage, and when the masked men show up, kill them and take their weapons. Then sneak into the control room where they can end the game once and for all. I also want to mention 2 evil characters from the contestants, rapper junkie Thanos and loser Nam-gyu. They have no problem passing their trials by drugging themselves. They manipulate other players and discard unwanted ones whenever they feel like it. Eventually, Thanos is killed in the bathroom, and we never find out what happened to Nam-gyu. The organizers turn off the lights and people start killing each other. Soon, masked men show up to stop the excessive bloodshed, and the main characters manage to defeat them. They take their weapons and begin to break through with a fight to the control room. Only the forces are not equal, and the masked men crush them in numbers. Gi-hun and his friend Jung-bai almost reach their goal. They ask Young-il to help them break through the defenses, but as expected, he betrays them at the last moment. However, he does not reveal himself to the players and pretends to be dead. Many of the rebels are killed, and we don't know what happened to the rest. This is the end of the 2nd season. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and click the like button. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.